This is Mosey. Did we? Oh, thank you. Hey guys, welcome or welcome back, and welcome to today's reading vlog where we're doing the unheard of, we're doing the unthinkable. We are actually going to read the TBR that we set for ourselves this month. We're all human. I'm pretty sure it's our collective beige flag that every month we get all excited about choosing the books we're going to read in that month, and then we never end up reading any of those books. This month is different. In the month of May, I am determined to read what is actually on my TBR. Maybe not all of them, but a good chunk. So if you didn't see the video where my mini books chose my TBR for the month, then the books that we have on the list are Throne of the Fallen by Kerry Maniscalco, Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano, The X-Files by Jessica Joyce, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. We're not going to get through that many books in this video, for sure, but we're going to make a good dent. So, we're already doing decently well. I'm already in the middle of Throne of the Fallen by Kerry Maniscalco. I am this far through, so kind of just over 50%, 55%, something like that. This is the first book of the new standalone interconnected romantasy series that sits outside of the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy, which were the first 3 books that she wrote in this universe. It basically follows each of the 7 brothers that are the 7 princes of hell, and each of them rule one of the 7 deadly sins. This book is Envy's book, so he rules over the sin Envy in hell, and it's a romance between him and Camilla. It is, as I heard it was, it's kind of a cross between like Bridgerton vibes, where Camilla lives in a human realm, in kind of society that basically has all the same rules as the Bridgerton vibes, where if she's like caught alone with a man with no chaperone, that would like ruin her, etc. So far my thoughts are, it's okay. The writing I do find is quite clunky. The audiobook is not great. I've tried switching to that a couple of times. His voice is really good, but it's not done duet, and I don't think either of the voice actors are great at doing the other person's voice in their chapters. It's a shame. It would be a really good one for a strong audiobook. I think that would take it up a notch. The writing is a bit clunky. There's a few bits where I just think, oh, that just wasn't like written great. I'm ticking along. I'm not reaching for it. I don't necessarily want to pick it up, but when I do pick it up, I have an okay time. I have had to like push myself through reading it at a couple of points. I've also found myself putting on the audiobook and then kind of zoning out. This is not sounding like a good review. It's not as bad as I'm painting it out to be, but I have found myself zoning out a couple of times, then being like, wait, what's going on? The plot so far, like I said, I'm not really sure what's going on. There are games, they're both competing in the games. There's a lot of banter. It is quite like sexy. There's not lots of smut yet, but there's a lot of like debauchery in hell. So there's a lot of dinner parties where people are just like having sex on the table, that kind of a vibe. So it's kind of slow burn, kind of enemies to lovers. They don't really like each other that much. I don't really know the plot. We're still going, we're ticking along. Anyway, so far we're in the middle of this. I think it was a good place to start this vlog, in the middle of this, because otherwise this book probably would have taken the entire week. We're gonna get this finished, and then we're gonna move on to the second book, which I actually already know what the second book is going to be, because we have a very special someone that's going to pick the book for us. I will introduce you to that special someone a little bit later in the vlog after we finish Throne of the Fallen, and I know exactly which book they will choose, therefore that's why I know what the second book is going to be. Anyway, I'm gonna go keep reading this. I really want to get through it so I get to the end. We're currently sitting at about 3 stars, so it's not honestly as bad as I'm painting it out to be. But yeah, let's spend the week reading my May TBR together. Hey guys, so it has been so long since I started this vlog because I can't get through this book. I can't get through it. It started off good and some moments of it are really good. I don't even know what to tell you about it. I'm currently 370 pages in. So I've read this much, which feels like a really big chunk. I think I'm gonna have to DNF it, or at least soft DNF it, or maybe just read it over a really long period of time and just kind of like finish it when I finish it. Every time I pick it up, the writing is like, it's killing me. Like, it's really killing me. They're just about to have like a spicy scene, and we're just using like so many different metaphors. I'm like, what is going on? It's like if she'd been trapped in a cocoon of ice, frozen from the horror of what she'd done, she'd broken free now. His fire ravished all the dark. Okay, cool. So 1 minute, she's ice, he's fire. Then 2 seconds later, his hands are touching her everywhere, stroking each area like her body was his favorite canvas. Her gasps were his paint, her lips his greatest inspiration. So then they canvas and paint. Then tongues are tangling like in a dance that she never wanted to end. And then their kiss is a battle and a plea and a salvation. Then it's a game. Like, what is going on? And oh, there's just, I can't, it's just cringing me out. And I really enjoy, I like the story. I love this whole universe. I love the concept of Princes of Sin. And I really enjoyed the first trilogy. I don't know why this is feeling so different to me. I don't know, I can't seem to get through it. I can't seem to finish it. So for now, we're gonna soft DNF this because I'm desperate to be reading a good book. I'm not reading a good book. And so this is Mosey. This might seem a little bit random. I don't think I introduced Mosey yet in the vlog. Did we? Oh, thank you. Mosey is the dog of two of our very, very best friends, Ben and Leah. Ben and Leah are actually getting married this weekend, which is so exciting. We've been looking after Mosey. For any Boston Terrier fans out there, we've been looking after her for a few days and having the best time. And since she is literally here with us, and it's Ben's wedding this weekend, it is only right that Mosey helps choose a new book for her dad. And I don't even need to ask her, although I will ask her, Mose, which book should we read? Which book? Which book should we read? I know what she wants me to read because I know what her dad wants me to read. And that is Red Rising. Come here, Mose. Do you know this one? This is your dad's favourite book. He recommended this book to me when I first started the whole Booktube thing, when I first really got into my reading. And I bought it as soon as he recommended it to me, which I'm pretty sure was like April, May, sometime 2024. He also recommended Song of Achilles to me and Circe, both of which I absolutely loved. Actually, let me just let Mosey out of the room 1 second. Sorry, as I was saying, I do really trust his recommendations. I loved those other two. This, I think, might be a little bit harder for me to fully love. I've seen a lot of mixed things from other people who have quite similar book tastes to me. It is, basically it sounds like the Hunger Games set in space. Some people say it's like blindingly good. Some people say it's actually kind of painful to get through. It's not something I would normally reach for, but I think now is actually a really good time for me to read it because I'm so desperate for a good book that's written really well of To Throne of the Fallen. And as far as I'm aware, the writing is very highly praised in this. So we're gonna dive into this sci-fi rebellion on Mars, very far away from my contemporary romance universe, rom-com love and heart. Let's do it. It feels like the perfect wedding gift to Ben. I can't wait to be like, I've actually read Red Rising and him and I can actually talk about it. Let's go start Red Rising and I'll keep you updated with how I go. Right, it's been 24 hours since I've spoken to you. In the last 24 hours, I have read over 100 pages of Red Rising and it's good. It's actually really good. I think my expectations going into this were very low. Not because I didn't think the book was going to be good, but because I just didn't think I would enjoy it because I'm just not sure it's my thing. Like sci-fi Hunger Games basically is the vibes I'm getting. I just didn't know how much I'd like it, but it's really good. So I've read 112 pages. I'm just about to start chapter 16. So we are this far through and wow. Okay, so first of all, the pacing is really good. It moves so fast. I have been jumping between the book and then the audiobook because I've just been wanting to keep listening, and the audiobook is really good. The narrator, I can't remember his name, but the voice actor has an Irish accent and somehow it just like adds this richness to the whole thing. The world, I guess it's not the world because it's our world, it's sci-fi, but the concept and how well thought through it all is really cool. Basically, I'm not yet further along than what it says on the back, so I can actually tell you what I've read so far without it being a spoiler. Basically, the concept is that humans are separated into colours, and colours are basically different classes of people that have now essentially become different races because of how far apart they are, I guess, like socioeconomically. So Darrow is part of the Reds, who are the lowest class of colours, and they are basically mining elements on Mars because they think they are like pioneers to try and make Mars inhabitable because Earth is overpopulated, and they have gone and they are sacrificing themselves and living this terrible existence so that they can save mankind and make Mars inhabitable for future generations so that people can move from Earth to Mars. It transpires, this is just on the back of the book, it transpires that that is not true and that the Reds have been fed a lie, and actually there are other colours, which are gold is like the best, highest, most elite colour, and then there's, and to be honest I'm not really sure what all the other colours are, but there's bronze and is there silver? I don't even know yet, I haven't really learned what all the colours are. All I know is that like gold is the most elite, and they kind of are like ruling everything, and they're the ones oppressing the Reds, which are the lowest colour. And then the colour you are equates to, so the Reds don't get any food, they don't trade with money, and they had no idea that the Golds were actually out there, and they're already living on Mars, they're already living on loads of different planets. The pacing is insane. What I will say is that part 1, which ended exactly at page 50, was quite harrowing, and I am pathetic. I know. I'm realising more and more how truly pathetic I am. I am also on my period at the moment, so I think I'm extra pathetic, and I finished part 1 and I just thought to myself, like, I can't do this. I can't do this unassisted. So even though this book is not on my May TBR, I started listening to The Wingman by Stephanie Archer, which is the next in the Vancouver Storm series, which I continue to insult and then continue to listen to. So I also have some things to say about The Wingman. I've been listening to The Wingman, I've basically finished it. I burned through those books so fast, and basically every time I read like a really harrowing chapter in Red Rising, I then jump to a fluffy romance chapter of The Wingman. I'm actually really enjoying The Wingman. I don't know if because slowly this series is just like, there's like a special part of my brain that's reserved for it. The first couple of books I thought were pretty bad. This one has actually made me laugh out loud at a few points. Like I've actually genuinely laughed out loud, and I've kind of swooned for Hayden a couple of times too. I don't know if because he's like the golden retriever energy kind of a guy, and I just love a golden retriever male main character, like the sunshiny ones. They hit so hard for me. So I've kind of been vibing with The Wingman. I will say what I've realised that I don't like about the Stephanie Archer books that I've read so far, which is literally just Behind the Net, The Fake Out, and now The Wingman, is that one, sometimes the writing is genuinely cringy, and this book is all about Hayden turning Darcy into a player because she really wants to be a player. And he has this whole thing of like, woe is me, because people only think that and they literally say the phrase like a pretty face and a great fuck or something like that, and he keeps saying it over and over again, and like that's his trauma. Like his trauma in this book is that people only see him as a pretty face and a great fuck, and like he's not boyfriend husband material, which is what he really wants to be. And then Darcy's trauma is that she had a boyfriend an ex-boyfriend who like didn't see all of her greatness. But to be honest, their relationship wasn't like awful. They're painting her ex to be like this terrible villain, and I'm not really seeing anything that bad that he did. Like, yeah, he didn't big her up enough. He didn't notice all the things that made her special. He didn't like celebrate the uniqueness in her. But that's just because they weren't compatible. I mean, if I think back to some of my ex-boyfriends, totally, like, yeah, absolutely, they didn't celebrate the things about me that I wanted my partner to celebrate, but that's because we weren't a compatible match. Like, they didn't value those things that I had. They weren't necessarily like terrible guys, it's just that you weren't a perfect fit, and then when you meet your perfect fit, all of a sudden you see all like the right things in each other. I don't know. Anyway, so there's some parts of it that it's just like cringy because I can't get round. I can't feel sorry for you if your biggest trauma is that you're a pretty face and a great fuck. No, I can't feel sorry for you. But 2, they're so empty, these books. I mean, this one I've enjoyed the most, but when I say there is no like world building or depth whatsoever, it doesn't feel like professional hockey. The way that the Windy City series, I really feel like I'm invested in the sport, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can like picture the entire world. You feel like you are professional athletes, and oh my gosh, do I want to be in your universe? This is a universe that I have no interest in because I can't really picture it. And there is no, like, there has not been one mention, like not even a mention of Darcy's parents or Hayden's parents or like their broader family. Like, do they have brothers or sisters? The extent of like the world building you get is that like they each get something else outside of the thing they do. So they like fantasy romance, and like that's a shared interest that they have. She likes maths, he likes hockey, and they're friends with the other people on the team. I can't even think of anything of like what his favourite food is, or like I don't know anything, like nothing about these characters whatsoever other than like the relationship they have together. So that's me slagging it off, and I'm loving it. I'm nearly finished So I don't know what to tell you. They are, I think those books, I listen to them. This is why I listen to them, because they're done duet and the duets are done really well. And sometimes I just need an audiobook and I don't want to watch another YouTube video. I don't want to watch anything on Netflix. I like books. Duh. So I want to listen to an audiobook and you just want it to be a duet. If it's a romance, it needs to be duet. So I do recommend listening to the Stephanie Archer books when one, you need a little hit of dopamine, two, when you're stressed out from a book that's a bit more serious and hard hitting, and if you're pathetic like me and can't just like sit in a tough time and you need something fluffy, then read it. Or like if you want to watch reality TV but you want something fun to watch instead that's like not reality TV, it's like that kind of like bingeable comfort thing. Anyway, back to Red Rising. I'm deep into part 2. It's really good. I'm enjoying it way more than I thought I would. I really wish Cameron was buddy reading this with me. I think he would love this because the beginning of it, if anyone's seen Silo on Apple TV, that show's so good. And obviously that was a book as well. I don't know if Silo was a book first. Sorry to insult any like massive fans of it. I think it was a book first and then it became a show. The beginning of this feels very kind of like Silo. Now that we're kind of meeting the Golds and we're seeing the Golds world, it feels very Hunger Games. The way that they have all of these like enhancements and like things that you can imagine like could be the case one day but just like aren't fathomable now. And there's so much intricacy in the writing that like really adds richness to the world that we're learning about. The fact that Golds have like better bone density and their muscles are stronger and they've basically been through like all of this evolution to become almost non-human because they're so superior, and that spreads throughout the colours. It's really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. I'm gonna go get back to it, keep reading it / listening to it. I do think it's probably one of those books you have to be in the right mindset to read. I found part 1 really hard to read, but now it's like less traumatic. Now we're into the swing of things a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. I've talked way too much. I will catch up with you once I've read some more. Okay, this is a big update because I think I last said hi at like 100 pages. I have now finished Red Rising. We're done. And I don't know, I feel like I have loads to say. And oh, have I got some thoughts? Okay, so first of all, really enjoyed this book. Genuinely really good. Not my type of story, not what I normally go for. It is truly like sci-fi, war, dystopia, rebellion. There are some Hunger Games themes in this, but honestly, it does feel so much bigger. And I did go to the wedding. I went to Ben's wedding, obviously, and his brothers were there. And oh my gosh, I mentioned that I was reading Red Rising. I didn't quite get it finished before the wedding. I mentioned that I was reading Red Rising with his brothers and they were like, oh my goodness. And then his older brothers were telling me all about it and they were saying this universe gets bigger and bigger, and in the future stories it's more like Star Wars, because I did learn throughout this book that kind of had a hint of it at the beginning, but there's actually more planets that are inhabited. It's not just Mars. It's just that this story like takes place on Mars, but actually there are more planets that have also been inhabited that like the Golds are running, and there are way more colours. There's greens and blues and they've all got like their own kind of special skills, and the biological enhancements of a Gold, the way I think I said before that it's kind of like they're entirely different races, because the Golds over 700 years have bred, I guess, and have scientific enhancements that their like bone density is better and their muscles are bigger and they're all way taller. And honestly, this is my little romantasy heart, like just can't help it. It honestly felt like the comparison between like a human and Fae is the difference between like a Gold and like the Reds. Anyway, I feel like it's one of those books that you like want to talk to other people about it, but it's not a 5-star. I think there were some issues with it. Not issues with the book, actually. I think the book was very good as it was. I just think that sometimes I wasn't as invested. It didn't necessarily make me. The first, like part one, like I said, it split up into parts, and part one like hit me really hard, whereas then like I then need to listen to some Stephanie Archer to just like make me feel a little bit better before I can like move on to part two. Then the rest of it, there was definitely still very heavy, some dark bits. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of like betrayal and death, and it's just kind of like the same thing as the Hunger Games, like all that, those kind of vibes that really tug on your heartstrings when they're undergoing extremely difficult, what's the word, like circumstances and like situations because they're being put through certain trials, which is basically what it is. He's at like a military academy essentially and is undergoing the same kind of trial vibe as they go through in the Hunger Games. But there were some moments where I found myself like not being completely invested or kind of zoning out like a little bit. I think overall I'm going to give this 4.25, either 4 star, I think 4 or 4.25. I'll see what I actually end up putting on Goodreads, but somewhere in that zone. I truly do not believe that books are gendered at all, but this is one of those books that I think, just like, forgive me for saying, like, it's just like a little bit of a boy book. Like, I think Cameron would really enjoy this. I think know a man in your life that isn't necessarily that interested in reading your like contemporary romance, like smutty books, but you want to give them a book to recommend. I think you can really strongly recommend this. I am going to read the rest of the series. I'm not like itching to dive onto the next one, but I do think I will read the rest of them because I do want to know what happens, especially having spoken to other people now that have read the rest of the series who just say that this is the equivalent of like book 1 in ACOTAR. And then if you've read ACOTAR, then you know that book 1 is just like a little subset, and then as soon as you get on to book 2 you realise that everything just kind of explodes and there's way more going on than the tiny speck of the universe that you saw from book 1. Apparently this is the same kind of vibe, like there's just a lot more to it and the next book is way better than this one. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think going into it with the right expectations allowed me to enjoy it. I think if I'd gone into it thinking that I was going to love it and not knowing how different it was to my usual book taste, I might not have enjoyed it so much. But I think because I was a little bit apprehensive and didn't necessarily have the highest hopes that I would love it as much as some like other people love it. Anyway, I'm really, really glad I read it. I'm so glad I read a good book. After Throne of the Fallen failing and then Stephanie Archer's The Wingman, which I enjoyed, but I've already said what I've said. That feels so good to read a good book. And I'm kind of on the same hype of wanting to pick up another book that is not like a contemporary romance, What's Going On With Me, that's just like really good and beautifully written. So I think for now that eliminates The X-Files and All Roads Lead Here, which means the next book that we're going to read is Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. Honestly, I don't really know what to think going into this book. I know it's meant to be similar to Little Women, or there's strong Little Women energy coming from it. It's about a group of Italian-American sisters. There's 4 of them. They've all got very different personalities. It's literary fiction, so you never really know what journey you're going to go on with a literary fiction book. I am probably the same I felt going into Red Rising. I'm apprehensive, but hopeful. I think I'm really in the mood for something like this. Not that I really know what this is. I'm in the mood for some beautiful writing, some depth, something to tug on my heartstrings a little bit. Yeah, Hello Beautiful, Anne Napolitano. This is our next read. I'm gonna go get started with it today, right now, to be honest. I've got a few hours I can read this afternoon, and I will come back to you and let you know how I'm getting on in a little bit. Such a lovely time right now. I'm sat outside in the sunshine, well, like kind of partial sunshine. The sun's just behind a cloud, by the river, reading my book. I feel like I'm really ticking off that goal. One of my bookish goals for this year was read outside more, and it's happening. I feel like this is it. Anyway, I am currently about 25% through Hello Beautiful, and I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely literary fiction. I find is often quite like slice of life style books where there's not often like a really heavy plot, in the sense that it's not like it's a murder mystery where you're trying to solve a particular crime, or a romance where 2 people like are falling in love, or like a thriller or horror where you kind of know exactly what you're going to get. I find literary fiction or like general fiction is often quite slice of lifey, and this really is that. It is exactly I kind of said I thought it was going to be, or who
somebody on the back said it was going to, I can't remember where I saw the Little Women thing, if I had just interpreted that or if it actually said somewhere here that it was like a modern day Little Women. But it really does feel like that. The bond between these sisters is so beautiful. The writing is, I couldn't decide whether I really loved it or not. I think the writing doesn't naturally appeal to me because it's quite short. They're very short, quite snappy sentences, but somehow it's having the right effect. I don't find myself swept up in lots of the language, but I'm totally drawn into these people's lives. I'm loving the way that it's told. The chapters are really long and I don't seem to notice. I'm just like flying through the pages, or really more like floating through the pages. It's really, really beautifully done. And I just had to read, like I'm at 100 pages in, I just had to read this one little quote here about motherhood. I'm not a mother, but this just was so, so beautifully written. This is one of the bits that is not like short, snappy sentences as much. And it just hit me super hard. Listen to this. Okay, I'm going to blank out the name of the character just so that there's like literally zero spoilers in any of my reviews. But listen to this. She realised that she was most certainly a mammal and had the ability to shake the world apart and create a human when she unleashed her power. She was a mother. This identity shuddered through her, welcome like water to a dry riverbed. It felt so elemental and true. That Blank must have unknowingly been a mother all along, simply waiting to be joined by her child. Blank had never felt like this before. Her brain was a gleaming engine, and her resources felt immense. She was clarity. With her daughter, Blank was complete. She realised, amazed, I love myself. That had somehow never been true before. I mean, what like a beautiful ode to what it means to become a mother. That's just lovely. And there's a few other bits that I have been underlining as I go. I don't know, guys. Like, do we think that this is like maybe 5-star territory? I don't know. When I first started it, I thought this is one of those books that is lovely, but isn't necessarily gonna like hit me over the head in a 5-star way. But the more that I'm reading, and then the more some of these like quotes keep really getting to me, I don't know, like some of it's just so beautifully done. Here's another bit, which maybe is like not even really a quote because it won't mean anything to you. After the wedding, you'll call me mum or mama, but no more Mrs. Padovano. She glared at him while she said this, but he could feel another message being delivered with her eyes. She regretted that his parents weren't coming to the wedding, and she regretted that his parents didn't love him. She would love him to fill their absence. It took him a moment to find his voice. Thank you, he said. Nonsense. Later, it occurred to William that Rose had called the meeting to tell him this. She didn't need to run through the plans. She was the commander-in-chief, and she would direct her soldiers on the day. She didn't delegate, she ordered. She simply wanted to make this declaration to him in front of witnesses. It really just is a story of family, and I'm only like 25% of the way through. Like the stuff that's on the blurb, on the back, like I haven't even gotten to yet. That's how early on I am. It's such a story of family and connection, and how people with completely different personalities can love each other and find each other. And being loving and being a comfort to those around you doesn't just look one way. And sometimes we all show love in different ways, and all of those ways are welcome. Like any which way you choose to express love is still love shared and love well received. And it's so nicely done so far. I don't know. I feel like the way I'm talking, I'm like saying 5-star things, but I don't know. I'm so early on. Anyway, I'm going to go keep reading. Why is this giant cloud blocking my sunshine? I need it to move. I'm going to keep reading and I will update you once we're a little bit further through Hello Beautiful. But so far, it is exactly like one of the quotes on the front is a moving and tender family epic. And right now, that's how it's feeling, like very moving, very tender, like very perceptive. I'm going to get more articulate as this book goes on, I can tell you, and then I'll have better words to describe it. Right, for now, I'm going to go keep reading and I'll catch up with you in a little bit.
So, I finished Hello Beautiful. You saw what it did to me. I was so nearly finished with it last night, but ended up falling asleep last night. Woke up this morning, finished it, and then I've tried to just have like an everything shower, spend a while getting ready, just trying to like knit my soul back together. I don't even know. Maybe I'm being way too dramatic. This book was so many things. I think ultimately it's a story about forgiveness and love and family and how complex we all are as individuals and how flawed we are, how flawed people can be, and how much you can love someone that's flawed anyway. This is a story of imperfect people loving each other because they're family and loving each other no matter what. I think there were a few things in here that I just struggled with. The older sister. Sometimes I feel as though, I don't know though, I think the characters were so perfectly, or maybe so deeply rooted in exactly who they were, that I do think they all acted in accordance with the foundations that Anne set for each of the characters. But sometimes I felt a little bit like, oh, I just wish the older sister wasn't quite so, like some of the decisions she made. I just contributed to that. There was a lot of grief in this book as well. A lot of time lost, a lot of time missed because of stubbornness and the cost of stubbornness. But there are so many quotes that I underlined. I mean, there's so much in here that our love was so deep and wide that it made me love everyone and everything in sight, which included me. I know it sounds silly, but I'm proud of myself, I guess, for living a brave life. Oh, like so much of this just like cut so deep. I didn't think I would ever find a man other than my father who truly understood me, who would see the way I looked at the world, what reading means to me, how I wonder about everything. Someone who would see the best version of me and make me believe I could be that person. I thought that type of love was a fairy tale. I thought that kind of man didn't exist. And this is not even a romance book. Like really, this is about a love between family in all of its forms. One of the first quotes in the book that I underlined, because I'm the oldest sister, so I think I saw some of myself in her and some of my traits in the oldest sister, but then some of the things that she did, I felt so frustrated because I was like, I would never do that, but it's obviously not me. But this is one of the first quotes that I underlined, which just speaks to me a lot. If you're the older sister, then maybe you get a similar, maybe you're not the same as me. From the time she was old enough to speak, she'd bossed her sisters around, pointing out their problems and providing solutions. Sometimes her sisters found this irritating, but they would also admit that having a master troubleshooter in their own home was an asset. One by one, they would seek her out and say sheepishly, Julia, I have a problem. It would be about a mean boy or a strict teacher or a lost borrowed necklace, and Julia would thrill at their request, rub her hands together, and figure out what to do. And I think at the beginning of this book, I resonated so strongly with her being the eldest sister and having that kind of feeling a sense of responsibility for your siblings and loving the role of being able to solve all their problems, even if that sometimes can mean you're overbearing, even if you don't mean to be. Anyway, I'm not even rating and reviewing this book now. I'm just like sharing my emotions about it. Here's another quote. I'm just bombarding you with the bits that meant something to me. And the kind of love you're looking for is made up anyway. The idea of love in those books, Wuthering Heights, Jane Eyre, Anna Karenina, is that it's a force that obliterates you. They're all tragedies, Sylvie. Think about it. Those novels all end with despair or death. Sylvie sighed. The tragedy isn't the point, she said. We read those books today because the romance is so enormous and true that we can't look away. It's not obliteration. It's kind of expanding, I think. It also just like made me feel, yeah, that's why I love reading romance books, or it's why I also love those classics. I've actually never read Anna Karenina. That's one of the few that I like need to get to. But I've heard that Anna Karenina is like quite slow and that she just does spend a lot of time on the train. But I need to read that. Anyway, oh my gosh. I guess, do I have to give it 5 stars? Like, maybe I do. I don't normally give a book 5 stars that like makes me so deeply unhappy because there is so much grief in this book. And I love giving out 5 stars for vibes, like you know what I'm like. This book is about hope, it is about love, it is about family, it's about acceptance and forgiveness and lots of lovely, very positive themes. However, there is a sadness and a melancholia to it that definitely broke my heart a little bit, and there is some quite strong themes of grief, even if like it's all wrapped up in this heartwarming, heartbreaking dichotomy of, I don't know. Anyway, right, okay, I'm gonna give this either 4.75 or 5 stars. I think for a book to pull such a strong visceral reaction out of me, it probably does have to be 5, but maybe I will knock it down a little bit to 4.75 because I feel like the characters just deserved like a bit more. I think the ending, I think we could have graced them with a little bit more than what they were ultimately, like where we were ultimately left with them. Okay, Wow, was that an incoherent review of this book? But hopefully you get like the vibes. You kind of understood the emotion that I can share, even if I need to practice some more being an actual articulate book reviewer. Whew, okay, so all that being said, we successfully read 4 books in today's reading vlog. These 3 plus the audiobook of The Wingman, which, not gonna lie, I really could have used some of The Wingman when I was reading Hello Beautiful, but I finished it all whilst I was simultaneously reading Red Rising. As a very brief recap, we have Throne of the Fallen. I would recommend the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy, absolutely. I think you can probably leave it there. If you're absolutely desperate for more of the world, then go on to Throne of the Fallen. Maybe another time I would have enjoyed it, maybe another time I'll pick it back up, but I just found the writing too difficult to get through. So that one was a DNF. Then we read Red Rising, 4.25, 4.54, somewhere in that region. I'll see what ends up on Goodreads. Stars from me. Sci-fi, action-packed, very fast-paced, dystopian, kind of like Silo, kind of like Hunger Games. I enjoyed it. I'm not itching to read the next one. Cameron has actually already started it. He started it like immediately. And look what he's done to my pages. Look what he's done to my pages. I do fold the corners of my pages. I swear, what is it with men? I've seen other people do it as well. Why do they fold them like literally? He's also finished reading The Natural, so I'm slowly turning him to a reader. And he literally folded the page like in half at one point. I was like, okay, I love you, but like, let's have some respect for the books. Anyway, so I'm not itching to get on to the next one. The Wingman, kind of enjoyed it. Smutty, fun, light-hearted. Not my most favourite hockey romance. Again, if you're going to read a hockey romance and you haven't read all of the Elle Kennedys, all of the Windy City series, like, I'd start with those. If you have read all of those and you're looking for a new one, then the Behind the Net series is like, it's all right. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, and clearly I can't stop listening to it, so it can't be that bad, can it? If I can't stop listening to it. And then finally, Hello Beautiful, heartbreaking general fiction that will kind of put it back together again. But I do think that the takeaways from this book about loving flawed people completely as they are, I think was like a beautiful reminder to me to see love portrayed amongst siblings, amongst mother and children, amongst father and children, romantic love, friendship love. Every single type of it is in here, and it's very messy. And very good. Anyway, okay, that is it for today's reading vlog. And I'm also at the very end of May, so that is it on all the books that I'm going to get to in May, which means that we have 2 that we didn't get to. All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata and The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. So both of those are going to need to be read some other time now. We didn't get to those, but otherwise I'm feeling good about my May TBR. I feel like that is the most number of books from a TBR that I've set that I've gotten to in a while, in many months. So I'm pleased with that. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if there's any other books that you think I need to be adding to the shelf for me to get to. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're in the middle of a lovely book. I hope you're having such a lovely week, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Bye guys.